is Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk. Check this out. Live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Brought to you by A#1 Air, the official HVAC and electric partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. The National Medal of Honor Museum. Join the mission at mohmuseum.org. Buffalo Wild Wings. And by SWBC Mortgage. Customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit SWBC.com. Now, your hosts, Nate Newton and Kevin Gray.
Welcome to week number 5 of the National Football League. It is Cowboys Crosstalk presented by SWBC, live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Kevin Gray of 105 through the Fan, joined as always by my partner, 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Super Bowl champion, member of the Black College Football Hall of Fame, my main man, Nate Newton. Nate, what's going on?
Baby, the preseason is officially over. We're going to start thumping and bumping, baby.
It's time for some real football. Real football. We're excited to talk about that real football tonight as the Cowboys get ready to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Joining us this week from DallasCowboys.com, host extraordinaire, proud North Texas, Mean Green, Kyle Yeoman's joining us this week on Cowboys Crosstalk. Kyle, what's going on?
What's up, guys? Y'all doing all right?
Doing well, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us.
I have to deal with him all week.
Every day.
And then I get up here, and this is where he shows the energy. So I don't know if I'm offended or excited, because I feel like he never shows this level of energy whenever we're having to do stuff around the studio. But he brings it whenever he's at the Cowboys Club.
Wait till tomorrow morning. Preseason over.
He's ready. He's ready.
Yes.
I love it. I love it whenever.
Put him in the locker room.
Yeah,
right.
Back in the day.
Was it even close to this?
Oh my God.
Was this even close to that?
Oh yes, and when they brought that lunch out, it got
wow. George with the shade already.
You calling it my hoggy days.
Joining us this week, our Cowboys legend. He was the former number 29 overall pick in the 1993 NFL Draft. He's proud Alabama Crimson Tide, former 1993 member of the NFL's All-Rookie Team, 9-year NFL veteran, 5 years with the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
George Teague joining us this week here on
Teague,
Cowboys
what's up?
Can I get my roll tide in now? I'm going to go ahead and get my roll tide out of the way right now.
Go ahead and get it in. Yeah, go ahead and get it.
Roll tide, baby. Roll tide.
They're going to be taking on Texas A&M this weekend.
That's right.
Yeah, taking on the Aggies this weekend. So
Defender
making the trip?
Star, man. He's the defender of the Star.
Man, we'll definitely get into that, because that's one of my favorite moments watching the Dallas Cowboys growing up, is what George Teague did to Terrell Owens on that fateful Sunday afternoon. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But we got to talk about this version of Cowboys 49ers, which takes place on Sunday Night Football in Santa Clara, California. The 4-0 San Francisco 49ers host the 3-1 Dallas Cowboys, Kyle, after a historic beatdown at the hands of the Cowboys against the New England Patriots, 38-3. Let's start there before we get to San Francisco. What was your biggest takeaway of what happened on Sunday afternoon between the Cowboys and Patriots?
Well, Nate will enjoy this. It was the way that Dallas controlled the line of scrimmage, the way that they won the battle in the trenches. Because in the loss against Arizona, that was the number one problem, was the offensive line. Sure, you were missing 3 Pro Bowlers. You were missing 3 starters up front. It's going to look a little bit different. But then you turned around, you got 2 of those guys back. Zach Martin back in the fold. Tyler Biadasz back in the fold. So the fact that they were able to play significantly better against a better front 7 from New England in just 1 week's time, I think that was very encouraging for me to see the way they won it, not only on the offensive side of things, but on the defensive line as well. They controlled the line of scrimmage in both factors of the game, and it led to a dominating win. Got back to what they did defensively, forcing some turnovers, bringing that pressure on Mac Jones, and it's something that we're going to have to see on Sunday.
Nate, what did the All-22 show you when you broke down the tape and what you saw from Cowboys Patriots?
Well, since Nate said that so eloquently, hey, you know what? The same thing he talked about. And you're talking about what did they show. The same thing. Dominance of the offense and defensive lines. We control the ball 35 minutes. We rush for oogles of yards. Tony Pollard is he still leading the league in touches? I mean, because Tony Pollard did a great job with minimal touches this past week. I like how Dak passed the ball around. We keep forgetting Dak is right around 79, 80% in completion ratage. And that's what I love about this team is Coach McCarthy is taking his time And I think this week here, if it becomes a shootout, I think we'll be ready offensively. So I think Coach McCarthy's been doing everything in his power to stay out of the way of the defense to keep them fresh.
George, what did you see defensively from the Cowboys that you love the most as they beat down the Patriots this past Sunday?
Well, I have to reiterate what they're saying essentially is that it was the bounce back. That's what I really took back there. You didn't play a very good game the next one, and then you made the necessary adjustments, cut back, add more, do whatever to get back to the standard, to the basics, to be able to play an excellent football game. Because I was really worried about what happens when you have that type of loss the week before, and then how do you perform? And it was fun to watch. It was exciting. It was everything that we need to have as fans, as commentators, analysts, everything. So I was very proud of the coaching staff. Dan Quinn figuring out how do we stop this run. They gassed us before.
Yep.
And I was worried about it, man. Zeke coming back in town.
That's right.
And Stevenson coming in. But keeping them as low as it was awesome.
And neither one of them were even remotely productive. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson didn't do anything. I mean, Zeke had, 6 carries for 16 yards?
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, and he was more effective than Stevenson was, and that's only because he rushed for 2.4 as opposed to 2.1. I mean, they slowed down and shored up the number one concern on that defense, and that was giving up 222 yards against the Cardinals on the ground. If you can continue to do that, it's going to get tougher. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's on the way. You're going to give the ball to Deebo Samuel this week, too, on the ground. If you can continue to show that improvement, that bounce back that George was talking about, I think this team has a ton of potential, and you saw that against the Patriots, even in a team that you probably won't say is as good as some of the other opponents they faced.
And go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
It just does me good when I see a great coach, who gives his all, as Belichick.
Yeah.
When I saw him wipe his face,
It was a long day.
I cannot believe this.
Yeah.
He believes in great practices, brings on great performances, hard work. He's never seen his team in this predicament. Out of all the years, the Cleveland Brown teams, he's never seen his team get beat like this. And to play offensively the way this quarterback played, a Crimson Tide, Roll Tide type guy.
I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing over there.
George,
I like how you work, Nate. I like how you work. That's
George
good.
is over here in the corner, and he's like.
You see how he kept it real subtle until he was ready to go ahead and throw that on in there real quick.
George was talking about, what's wrong with the Patriots? Well, it definitely wasn't their quarterback. It was only the run
game. You see how he quietly omitted Mac Jones.
That Ohio State running back was not nearly as effective.
That's right. That's right.
I can admit Mac Jones did not play very well. That was great because, I was just thinking he was going to be trying to dink and dunk, hit the intermediate passes that he's good at, the short stuff, but he couldn't even really get in there. I mean, he's throwing the ball right to people, so it's just I'm just happy that we performed the way that we did.
And we came out healthy. We came out relatively
healthy.
Yes.
And one of the things, I love the fact that we have George on the show this week because you know a little something about picking off the football. And Deron Bland, 2 interceptions on Sunday, now 8 career interceptions in 21 games, had the 54-yard pick six on Sunday. What have you loved about what he's been able to do to step in for Trayvon Diggs, who, of course, talented interceptor of the football himself? What did you love about what Deron Bland did on Sunday?
Well, this dude is amazing with ball skills. That's great for a defensive back, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you got people that can actually catch the ball, that's one thing. But when you watch his technique and how he uses his body and understands when he can go underneath, when he can go in front, those are the things that coaches talk about the most of when do you take your chance? When is it calculated that you can get your hands on the football? And he always seems to be around the football. You can't put a value on that, getting drafted late and all these kind of things, but just to go in, and I love his ball skills, man.
Yeah. It felt like, Kyle, in a lot of ways that these Cowboys defensive backs were really sitting on routes, understanding what was coming. Did that kind of jump out to you as you were kind of evaluating what you saw from that defense on Sunday?
Yeah, it's very cerebral, the way that they've attacked this. And I think part of it relies on the confidence that they have in the front seven to get pressure. I mean, Micah Parsons didn't have a sack. He had 10 pressures. As a defensive back, you know that there's going to be a moment in time when the quarterback's going to make a mistake. He's going to throw the ball in the wrong spot. He's going to throw the ball to the wrong receiver, the wrong read, and you're going to get to take advantage of it. Deron Bland, to me, what he does so well is he's a goldfish. I've been watching Ted Lasso, like the show on Apple TV or whatever. Very positive show. There's a line in it where Coach Lasso says, "Be a goldfish, forget everything and turn it around and keep your eyes looking forward." And DaRon Bland has brought that to the table from a cornerback spot. He wasn't very good in Arizona. You go back and watch the film, he had his lapses. He was in the wrong spot on certain times. He was in the wrong coverage at certain times. And Arizona attacked DaRon Bland on the outside. He turned around and had the best game of his career in response to that. And I think, today I got to talk to him a little bit, and I asked him, I said, how important is it to put the lows behind you and to not get too low, put that all behind you, and then move on? And then the same thing whenever things are too high, like this week where you're coming off of a performance like that. How do you avoid the talk on the outside there? And he said, you got to keep going in neutral. Keep on rolling in neutral. I really like his mindset, the cerebral side of the game, the film study that he's been watching, and what he's picked up from guys like Trayvon Diggs, who's no longer on the field, but could certainly still provide a bit, a little roll tide. Still can provide a little bit of that knowledge to some of these guys that are on the younger parts of their career as well.
That's because he's coachable, and you have great coaches around him. You got to talk about Al Harris,
no doubt,
and Joe Witt, and all those, Dan Quinn. Just putting him in the right position and being able to calm his nerves. I can remember the first time that I had to start. I know he started a year before.
Yeah.
But when you get thrown into a mix like this, the emotions and the nervousness make you maybe play a little bit out of characteristic like he did
against Arizona.
Against Arizona. So now he backed into it a little bit, and he had a little bit more confidence this week.
I wouldn't have said this before the game. I wouldn't have dared said this right here. But you go into Walmart, and they have like a pharmacy. Mm-hmm. And that's what this team turned out to be for the Dallas Cowboys. They had the medicine that the Cowboys
needed. They were just what the
needed.
doctor ordered for the Cowboys.
I wouldn't have said that before the game, I promise you.
He wanted to make sure that they got the win before.
I feel
that.
They had the cure. They had the cure for this kid. And now this kid can go and play two better receivers this week coming up that is quite, and the quarterback understands what's going on a little bit better.
Before we take our first break now, I want to throw it to you real quick because the efficiency of the offense was something that was on display as well. What did Dak Prescott and this offense look like for you based off what you evaluated and how they performed against New England?
I hate to say this, and you guys probably can speak a little bit better on this right here. I'm looking for efficiency. Mm-hmm. And as long as they give me that every week, I know the big play will come.
Yeah.
And that's what they were efficient once again. They did what they had to do to cater to the defense. And this is what we're not used to in Dallas, catering to a defense. Even when we had the great defense when I played, we didn't cater to them. Everything was catered to us.
Yeah.
So now I know the fans are a little upset. We need to go deeper. We need to do this, and the red zone is still something that's got to be answered. But they're doing a great job to me.
Are you saying fans got to recalibrate just a little bit based off of what the makeup of this team is, knowing that you can play that complementary football with the offense and how good this defense is to ensure you keep them in good position?
I say this every week, and now I really mean it. If the Cowboys can get away with a 1-point victory and the fans are moaning and groaning, I'll be out there cussing in the streets.
And Nate doesn't do that.
That's right.
Nate doesn't let it fly.
We need a win.
Yes.
Against what we think as fans as a quality opponent.
Yeah.
I don't think that the 49ers has played some great teams. Pittsburgh, who are they right now? Last week they flew through the Cardinals. The Giants, they're falling off a ledge. So now this is a challenge, not a test. If we go in there to test ourselves, we already have doubt. When you're the Bamas or you're the big schools that are rock and roll, you don't look at it like, hey man, we're going to go play Auburn. What you think?
Right.
Oh, this is a test. We're going to measure ourselves. This is a time for you to, to drop them and go get them, bro. Yeah.
We're going to find that out on Sunday night when the Cowboys take on the San Francisco 49ers. We are Cowboys Crosstalk presented by SWBC. Kevin Graham, 105
yes,
to the
sir.
fan. Nate Newton, Kyle
yes,
Yomas,
sir,
our Cowboys
baby.
Legend. George Teague joining us live at the Star in Frisco. Don't forget, at SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. Coming up next, we start to dive into that matchup between the Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers, a team that's knocked out the Cowboys the last 2 times in the playoffs. What do they have against Christian McCaffrey in this offense? We talk about it next on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Back on Cowboys Crosstalk, presented by SWBC. Kevin Gray of 105 through the fan, joined by my partner Nate Newton.
Yes, sir.
Kyle Yeomans of DallasCowboys.com.
Yes,
and our
sir.
Cowboys legend this week, George Teague, joining us live at the Cowboys Club.
Teague, what's
in the house,
up?
baby? In the house.
Don't forget SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit SWBCMortgage.com to find a pro today. A lot of all pros coming up in this game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. Stars galore in Santa Clara on Sunday Night Football on NBC, where, George, I'll start with you because you know a little something about playing the San Francisco 49ers when the lights are the brightest, when these two teams get together. What have you seen from each of these teams? We'll start with San Francisco, that will present problems to this Cowboys defense, knowing how good this offense is with San Francisco, Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, and others for that team.
Well, and first I must say, Nate Newton played in a whole lot of big games against San Francisco.
Yes, he did. That's right.
As well.
I'm going to get to him. I talk to him every week. I'm going to get to him and start with you first.
He did that. But you know what I like to see, and I hate to talk about this because they're our foe or whatever, but the way they run the ball, the running scheme that they have, and the way that they're able to attack people, that really worried me at the beginning of the year. Pullers going everywhere, eye candy with motions, whether it's Deebo running it, McCaffrey, however, it seemed like they found a way to attack people with the running game and protect their quarterback. That is what worries me the most. But now, after this week, I felt like that before we went and played New England as well. They're like, hey, they're going to try to hit us with this rushing game. So I have a whole new level of confidence just because of this last game. Are we going to shut McCaffrey down? No. He's still going to get his. We still got to figure out how to get him. But I think we can take away something, right, and make it a little bit harder so that we can have the success that we need.
Nate, the undisciplined nature that we saw the Cowboys defense against Arizona, it returned against New England. How much more that discipline will have to be on display, knowing, as George talked about, the different things that Kyle Shanahan can do to move around McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and others to ensure that they are staying disciplined against that offense.
They're averaging 153 yards a game rushing. I'm going to tell you something. If that won't make you disciplined, I mean, with McCaffrey, and it ain't all about Deebo Samuels anymore.
Right.
This is how I'll start the game out, my friend. I'm giving you 8 in the box. Now, maybe whether I leave that in there is going to depend on what my front seven can do. These defensive linemen for us have to show up. They have to show up. This offense, Brandon Ayuk is on another level now. This ain't the same kid. They are throwing less to Kittles because this kid is banging.
Yeah.
He missed one game and still have 300-some yards, man. He's averaging 18.8 yards a catch. I am so glad that our kids played well last week because now they finna face some dogs. And, Kyle, I'm going to be quiet and let you you are the man.
I'm saying,
to you. Because you're going to bring all the numbers and stats we need, my friend.
See, and here's the thing. I don't think you need a whole lot of numbers and stats in this game.
No, you don't.
You really don't, because the matchup, you looked at it, and you talked about this a little bit. It's not all about Deebo Samuel anymore. It's not all about Christian McCaffrey anymore. It's about what defenses give Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco offense. Because there were times against Arizona, when you go back and look at the All-22, that Arizona would load the box, and they would stay right in between the tackles, and they're going to say, dare to run the football, come at us, go in between the tackles if you dare. Well, guess what? That let the DBs on the outside, the cornerbacks, they'd play off the line of scrimmage, give a little bit of extra padding for guys like Ayuk, guys like Deebo Samuel, and then you've got these short, shallow crossers that are open every time for a guy like Brock Purdy to hit consistently and efficiently. That's what San Francisco is predicated on. It's the efficiency on offense. Nate talked about Dallas and the way that they did it against the Patriots this past week. San Francisco is going to try and do the exact same thing to Dallas defensively. Dallas has one gear, and that's just pure aggression on the front seven. And that's a good thing sometimes. Micah Parsons, Dorrance Armstrong, DeMarcus Lawrence, the interior guys with Jonathan Hankins. And hopefully Mozzie Smith can have a replication of what he did in Week 4 as well. But it's one speed, pure aggression. Be on the lookout for Kyle Shanahan to try and use that aggression against them by using that misdirection, the reads, the RPOs, those different eye candy things that are going to bring the defense inward, and then you're going to attack outward because they're going to do the complete opposite of what you're going to try and take away.
Well, so we got to talk about J-Ron Curse,
Gotta be.
Donovan Wilson, how they fit, because they use them in ways to help with the run game. They got to put them on number 2, a receiver, Ayuk, a Kittle, or something of that nature, but also have to be able to fit in the box, which is hard to do.
Sure.
You know, asking J-Ron to cover man-to-man, but also have a
B-gap
fit. Or Donovan Wilson, who drops down on the inside a lot. And he's, you know, playing off a number 3 receiver most of the time and having to fit into an A-gap, right? So I think those are the very key points that we got to be sound on to make this happen because, as you guys have so eloquently said, they got a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking at those guys to see how they match up against a Kittle or someone else that's lined up in there where they're trying to hit these underneath things.
And that's where I think the X factor lies. I think if you're looking at one specific matchup that could actually work in Dallas's favor in this game, because there's going to be a lot of washes across the board. I mean, you talk about the outside with Bland and Ayuk or whoever Stephon Gilmore covers, whether that's Debo or whoever it ends up being, because they'll mix and match as well. But the X factor is going to be J-Ron Curse, Donovan Wilson playing downhill, and the way that Dan Quinn utilizes those guys and puts them into certain situations, because just like Dallas has not faced an offense with this many weapons, San Francisco sure hasn't seen a defense with this many pieces to counteract that with. So there's going to be a fun chess match between coordinators on both sides of the ball, and I think you're exactly right, George. I think it starts with the safety. It's almost like you played defensive back or something.
He knows a little something about playing defensive back.
It's almost like you've done that before.
I'm a little biased about it, but you know what other I need to point out, because watching the All-22, it was great to see Van Der Esch getting down, taking gaps, running through there,
and
making
Damone
some
Clark,
both of them.
Both of them. Yes.
And that, I mean, I know they've been doing it. It just looked different, like there's a better comfort level where they know how I can take it because I got the support behind me as well.
The better, the one technique over the center and the 3 technique over the guard plays. The linebackers play better.
Talking about Hankins and Mozzie Smith a little bit there.
Thank you. Now, let me share something with you, man.
Oh.
Christian McCaffrey, 80 carries, 459 yards, 6 TDs, 5.7 average, 18 receptions. 18 receptions, 1 TD. I marked that down, the yards wrong. The yards are a little bit more than I wrote down. I think 141. No, they're right. This kid is so dynamic. Sometimes you have to have a setup man, and I'm talking about defensively. Jonathan Hankins cannot be moved this week. And when Osa decides that he's going to take a side and hit, because here's our penetrator. Yep. When he's got to be calculating in how he do this. Because if you go back and watch McCaffrey, he can make you miss, and he can freeze you and run right through the middle of you. This kid is 5'11", 205, but he's built like Emmett with much more speed and probably better hands coming out of the backfield. Mm-hmm. This kid, trust me, don't stop him, you're going to hurt. If you don't stop him, you're going to hurt.
Just because I'm really curious, can I ask you something like, how hard is it to really try to knock off pullers in the National Football League?
Like what?
You know, as they're getting ready to go and trying to get the penetration, as you're saying, Osa or something, how hard is that for a defensive lineman to actually disrupt and slow the play down? You're
talking more so from a momentum standpoint, too, because those guards and those centers, when they're pulling, they've got a full head of steam, right?
Yes.
The thing that when you have to have a precise direction where you're going, because what if I'm pulling, I'm the backside guard, I see you, I take you. Now it's up now you've done your job as a defensive tackle because you're in the backfield and you're hitting me in the backfield. But you still have to kind of reach out and try to make that back stop and sturdy.
What you do with your hands after that?
Yeah, because if that guy can break back door and everybody that's going to wash down like we saw against the Cardinals, when you pull, they was so far deep in there, so you left a natural lane.
Yeah.
That's what you fear. When this guy takes his gap, is he going to a gap, or is he going to say, I'm just going to make a play? Because if you ain't going to a certain gap because somebody's scraping around, and if you make that thing too wide, all you need is that much space for a running back.
That little bit of daylight, he'll definitely exploit it. Let's take it to the offensive side of things real quick before we go to break, because I'm so fascinated by this matchup of this Cowboys offense with Mike McCarthy taking on a terrific San Francisco defense led by an all-pro linebacker and Fred Warner. Nate, what does this offense for the Cowboys have to do against one of the best defenses all in the National Football League?
Run them. Run it. Run at them. You got to stabilize them. They only use 4 down linemen in the pass and versus the run. Fred Warner and the other kid, number 57, they can run, man. And they come downhill with a Banji-like style, man. They coming to hurt something.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if you go misdirection, they ain't going for that. They reading everything. When they decide to come downhill, along with that great safety they have, I can't even pronounce the kid name, Baby Palomalo. It's ugly.
Different guy.
That's right.
I'm telling you, they stay home when need to be. They are very, very disciplined. Their front 7 is special. But Fred Warner, he is the leader of this right here, man.
Yeah.
He will hurt you.
It's going to be a fun matchup to see these two teams with the chess piece that they have. You talked about the versatility of both offense and defense and what their talent looks like. All that's going to be on full display when the Cowboys take on the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football. It's Cowboys Crosstalk presented by SWBC. Kevin Gray of 105 through the Fan. Nate Newton,
yes.
Kyle Yeomas, George Teague joining us live at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Coming up next, let's get into some X factors. How did the Cowboys present challenges to this defense? Vice versa, how did the offense do against this Cowboys defense? We'll talk about it next on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Go Cowboys! To Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk. Check this out. Live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Back on Cowboys Crosstalk presented by SWBC. SWBC PEO helping to alleviate the HR administrative burden that comes with running a business. Leave the worrying to us. Visit SWBCPEO.com to find out more. Kevin Gray of 105.3 The Fan, Nate Newton, our 3-time Super Bowl champion, Kyle Young of DallasCowboys.com, and our Cowboys legend George Teague joining us live at the Cowboys Club, live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Appreciate you joining us, however and wherever you may be listening to us, as we get you ready for Week 5's matchup between the Cowboys and the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. Let's talk some X factors, gentlemen, going into this game. I was just remembering the last 2 playoff games and how they've ended for the Dallas Cowboys, but yet the Cowboys have actually beaten the 49ers the last 3 times. They've seen them in the regular season, so they can't beat them in the playoffs, but they can beat them in the regular season at least the last 3 times. George, I'm going to start with you. What's your biggest X factor going into this game between these 2 talented football teams when it comes to NFC supremacy on the line on Sunday night?
Oh, well, you know, it is hard to kind of play out there, but Brandon Cooks, man.
Oh, okay.
It's time, baby. We got CeeDee Lamb. We got other guys, but you guys are always throwing out all the stats, right? And it's kind of fun to watch that and see. CeeDee, 13 yards a catch. Gallup's at 12, I believe. Cooks is somewhere around 8 or 9. Hendershot is still around 10.
Yep.
Dude, we got some weapons. What are y'all talking about, man? We got some people. All the running backs and people that have been in the backfield got 4 yards of carry. That's one pass and one run, and we're gonna get a first down. I think they're gonna have to try to double up, try to figure out how to contain CeeDee. He's gonna get his looks. We got to. Mike McCarthy knows that. He's gonna design some plays for that to happen. Gallup's been showing what he can do. He's back, man. He's back, and he's ready to go. Can y'all tell I'm getting hyped? I'm getting ready to go.
I can tell.
I'm getting ready to go.
You're ready to run through a wall yourself, George, on Sunday night yourself, man.
It was Nate in the first segment, and now George is waking up.
Pass it on to George now.
Nate's just kind of just letting it happen.
That's what a good host does. That's
well,
what I like.
It all goes into what he's saying, that we got to be able to establish a run and do some things and win the game up front. But that's when you get a chance to take the top off the thing with a Brandon Cooks or something that we have not seen that yet. And I'm looking forward to that at their place, where that becomes my little secret weapon that I'm hoping to see.
Nate, let me ask you this. Have we made too much of this matchup, knowing what has happened the last 2 years and what kind of motivation that does for a player? Or as you as a player looking at it, look, this is week 5. This is an opportunity to beat a good football team. How are you using what has happened the last 2 years as motivation, if that's something that you're looking toward this week?
It's time to win, man. It's time to win. It's you know, me and Kyle was talking about it all fair. I'm not going to go must win, but I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're 2 games down. You got 2 losses to their none. Not only that, we keep forgetting about Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We take for granted that we're going to split with Philadelphia or beat them twice. Guess what? Who was in the Super Bowl last year?
That's right.
So now we 2 games down to them, depending on what happened earlier that day. So I want to stay even or stay that one game down. And the only way we can do that is to win.
Yes, sir.
We need this. You can say it don't matter at this point, but guess what? That's 3 you've lost. Now you're going into the playoffs, and if you have to go to their house again, you don't want to face that. We need to win this game.
Nate said something that it makes me think about when we were playing together back then. It would actually put on the board. I don't know if he remembers this, those segments of the season. Hey, we need to be 3-1. We need to be 4-0.
Sure.
Something because we have to keep up with them, whoever them is.
Yes.
And that so that we can get a home game in the playoffs. So it's a little bit more than just we need to beat them because we haven't beaten them. It is exactly what he said, that we got to stay in the hunt.
And even with the season moving to a 17-game schedule, coaches still look at it that way. Mike McCarthy's talked about it twice this week. They were 3-1 in the first quarter. They're moving into the second quarter. And this is also time, right around the time whenever teams fall into their identity. They start finding out what those tendencies were, whether they were intentional tendencies or unintentional tendencies. And so you're learning about your team through the first month of the season. It's not the first month of the season anymore. Nate made the joke when we got on, the preseason is over.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some truth to that because now you know who you are as a football team. It's one of those, they are who we thought they were, and now you've got that with your team in your locker room, and you've got to find a way to put your best version of your football team out there, and you're going to get a chance to see that against the best version of San Francisco on Sunday as well.
Man, I think I know who we are.
We're
a physical football team. I think Mike McCarthy has done a good job of establishing a run game that you could talk more on this, but just me looking at it, it just seems like the design and the more counters and powers and things reminds me of back in the day where we were getting downhill. And I think he was been very intentional about that. So the red zone hadn't been where it needs to be and all that kind of stuff, because I think he is being patient, Mike McCarthy, in trying to establish who they are.
Yeah.
Physical on offense, on defense, on special teams. And then now let me open up some things now that we got the identity. Maybe be a little bit more finesse, take some shots.
Even in the loss, we had 25 runs. Even in the loss, we had 25 runs. That is nice. Yes. Even in the loss, we had 25
Staying committed
runs.
to the running game when it comes to the Cowboys offense. Nate, I'm going to stick with you on this one, because what is some of the All-22 started to show you about how you want to see the Cowboys attack this defense of San Francisco and what they have to do to put themselves in position to play that complementary football that Mike McCarthy loves to talk about?
I may didn't get it right. You say, what do we need to do to continue?
Yep.
Just have a few extra run plays, a few wrinkles to your extra run. Give them some eye candy because they're a great disciplined team. But Jake Ferguson, as I'm pronouncing, the kid from Wisconsin,
Yes, right.
fourth-round pick a few years ago.
Nice.
This kid has grown leaps and bounds. He
had
does
7 catches
more
for
than
77
just-
yards last week, yeah.
he does more than just get in the way of defenders when he's trying to block. He actually can move some people. And now he's going to be part of our run game. I want to see him have a wide option. Like we should give Novacek. I want to see him work on a linebacker. Give him an option or work on a wide receiver. That way, Dak can still have that short game. And once they start easing up with this kid, because he can make people miss.
Yeah.
He's elusive, man. So now he started making people miss with this short passing game. Now Brandon Cook, just what you asked.
A little over top, yeah.
That's how I see for. I liked him from day one. Now your Isaiah didn't. Him from day one, but I loved it.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. So I'm loving this kid.
Isaiah didn't
Isaiah,
dislike
stand back
him.
and see what we talking about.
He just thought he was bland.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's just an
Right.
all-around tight end.
Yes.
And I think there's a way that you can utilize that. I think Mike McCarthy's done a good job of opening up Jake Ferguson without Dalton Schultz in front of him. Dalton Schultz was great in his own right of being the safety blanket, being the reliable target. Ferguson can do a little bit more than that, and there was a reason why he was
5 yards
drafted.
further down more.
That's
No
right.
doubt.
Yeah.
A little more athleticism.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to what George was talking about is there's all these weapons, but you don't know where they're going to be used. You can use Jake Ferguson at the second level as a blocker. You can let him go up and get to the linebacker and seal off the edge for that run game, or you could use him on an out route where he is the safety blanket. He is that quick target. Or you could take the top off and go over the middle of the defense. And that's happened a couple times, too. I mean, you look at 2 of the potential touchdown grabs for Dak Prescott, touchdown throws for Dak Prescott. One of them was a phenomenal ball to Luke Schoonmaker in this most recent game. And then the game before that against Arizona, it was to Peyton Hendershot, which was a phenomenal ball, too. So there have been some opportunities. They just have to have better execution across the board. Not just Jake Ferguson, but that tight end room and in general.
Before we go to break, last 3 minutes before we go to our next break here, I want to know what your favorite matchup is because of all the talent that's on the field. Real quick, George, what's your favorite matchup that you're looking forward to between these 2 teams this weekend?
Well, it won't surprise you at all. George Kittle and J-Ron Curse.
Yeah.
Because Kittle can make some things happen, too. All the things we just said about Jake Ferguson, he's the same way. He can block, he can run, he can make people miss. He's going to stiff arm you. But we got a big safety that can do that, and I think that's going to be a very, very big part of what we got to do.
So if I'm correct, you're saying overall, what's my best matchup?
Yeah, favorite matchup this weekend.
I want to see if
Trent
Parsons is going to run over there to Trent Williams.
Oh.
I want to see because I believe if he
Trent
run
Williams,
over there,
yeah.
if he run over there in his third and maybe 4, a third and maybe 5, I won't be surprised if they run the ball just so he can get his hands on it.
Okay.
I like that. That was probably going to be mine. But I'll go with.
Well, I'll switch up.
No, I'm going to keep it. No, I'm going to keep it.
I got another one.
I want you. Yeah, no, I've got another one too. Give me DeMarcus Lawrence off the edge, setting the edge against Christian McCaffrey, and seeing if he can get outside and keep McCaffrey contained in between the tackles. McCaffrey's great in between the tackles, but if you can set the edge and get on the outside, that's going to allow you to be more successful against 23 out of the backfield because he wants to get to the numbers. Yeah. That's where he does the majority of the damage, whether that's as a receiver or it's as a ball carrier. He's going to try and get outside. Can DeMarcus Lawrence win his battles up front and try and force him back to help side defense? That's what I want to see overall.
And another one is if can Tyler Smith contain Eric Armstead or either Javon Hargrave.
Some big boys in the middle there.
They thought we got rid of the Stu Freeman Philly, and this dude go right in.
You only get to see him once every year, so that's a little better, right?
I'm going to take it to the coaching booth. I want to see the matchup, the chess match between Kyle Shanahan and Dan Quinn. I feel like for some reason Dan's going to take this week a little bit more personal than normal given what's happened in the last couple of years, knowing how all this offense has been working with the point guard with Brock Purdy, how he distributes the football. I think Dan Quinn versus Kyle Shanahan, the chess match between his defense and his offense is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Isn't that kind of cheating? Didn't he just pick the entire offense? And the entire
hey. I get to run the show, so I get to pick the match.
That's fair.
That's the person running the show. That's the person running the show. It's Cowboys Crosstalk presented by SWBC. Kevin Gray 105 through the fan. Nate Newton, Kyle Yeomans, George Teague joining us live at the Cowboys Club. Coming up next, we're going to catch up with our guy George Teague as his Roll Tide takes on the Aggies this weekend and what else he's got going on. And plus that one fateful time where he took out T.O. at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. We'll talk about that. We'll do it next on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Go Cowboys! Back to Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk. Live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
One final time here on Cowboys Crosstalk presented by SWBC. Let's take our final partner on this Wednesday night. Liberty Tax, the proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Schedule an appointment today at libertytax.com/Cowboys. Kevin Gray of 105 through the fan. Three-time Super Bowl champion Nate Newton, Kyle Yeomans of DallasCowboys.com. and our Cowboys legend this week, George Teague, joining us live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Before we get to predictions and how we see this thing playing out on Sunday Night Football, let's catch up with our Cowboys legend, George Teague, this week. I know he's going to have one eye on Alabama taking on Texas A&M, but also you got a lovely podcast that you're working on these days. How's that going for you?
It's going excellent, but I got to tell you, I'm going to have two eyes on that game. I'm not going to be asleep, but you know what? I'm very pleased and proud to be able to do what I do. Teague's Take, which actually happens tonight as well at 8:15. I'll be running straight out of here to go jump on YouTube. Me and my son get a chance to do that. It's really cool to be able to have a podcast with your kid.
That's awesome.
You know, but you know what I even like even just as much or even more is the opportunity to work for DallasCowboys.com too, doing flashback.
Yeah.
Cowboys flashback on Monday nights. Doing the things on CBS with Game Day that comes on at 10:30 in the morning. So, yeah, I'm trying to get like Nate, man. You know, I'm trying to get like Nate.
Trying to become a media mogul out here these days.
He's getting closer, by the way, because I used to see George just once every blue moon around here, and now it's every week. Now it's turning into multiple days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happening. He might not think it's happening, but it's happening.
Well, Nate, and I have to say, I'm gonna say thank you, to this guy here because he has been a mentor. For me as well, being able to call him and talk to him about
look at that big smile on Nate's face. Look at that. Look at there.
But I'm a little upset with him because I'm overdressed today. He forgot to tell me, hey, man.
You done did this show every year for the last 4 years. Don't do that.
He said, don't do that.
You've been here. You're just a professional.
That's right. Before we get to our predictions, speaking of flashbacks, we can't not talk to you and not talk to you about that one fateful Sunday afternoon when T.O. decided to disrespect the star inside Cowboy Stadium, and you took it upon yourself that particular day to let him know what was good. What was running through your mind as you saw T.O. sprinting to the star and what you felt like you had to do to take care of business in that moment?
Well, I wanted to be baby Mike Tyson at that point. That's what was going through my mind, trying to figure out how to, with a right, left, toothless, whatever, some of that.
And if you thought the clip was viral before that, imagine if you would have had that.
Man, listen.
Yeah, you know what? It just I had a good interview with someone, and someone made me break it down, and I'd never been asked about this because I get asked about it every time we get ready to play the 49ers, right? And Nate, I know you never ever talked any trash during the game, up in the trenches or whatnot. Y'all don't talk up front, right? Y'all only point to the Mike linebacker and all this kind of stuff. Right? But, you know, I want people to understand the difference of being intense in a play and understanding that, hey, there's going to be banter in the game.
Sure.
Going to that. But it's when things that happen in between the plays or off the field or something when people disrespect you or your team in other ways. And I think that's what really happened with Terrell Owens that day. It was more than just, oh, man, we were losing and it was hot and all that kind of stuff. He literally went out to the star and said, man, look at me. Twice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if he didn't know it was a problem after Emmett went out there and said, no, this is not cool, and then he had the gall to go do it again, he should have expected something was going to happen. Is going to be out there and happen. So I just think we work hard for that, man.
Sure.
Yeah. We work hard. I was very thankful that Jerry Jones even put me on a team. I had to earn that star. I had been traded. I had been cut. I had to come in. These guys made me part of the team in different ways to be able to say, dude, you're with the Cowboys now. This means something. This star means something. So when he went and stood on my star, man, that was personal. You know?
Yeah.
It was very personal to me.
Real quick, Nate, just reminisce real quick from me. This rivalry I know is very personal for you and all the battles that you had in the early and mid-'90s with San Francisco. What does this rivalry mean to you when you get to see these two teams and this version of these teams get together now?
It's everything. From Everson Walls, having that happen to him with the tight end, great tight end of the past.
Yep.
Even though it wasn't his man, he was trying to cover and he got burnt for it. And then for us to be a year ahead of schedule, and the great Chris Berman say, it's no way the Cowboys can win. And then Alvin Harper hit them down the middle like that. If we won that game, and we dominated them until William Floyd showed up and bar none and made his team tough, got hard all of a sudden. It's always been big for me. I've been a Cowboy fan all my life.
Yeah.
So this means a whole lot to me, not only as an ex-player, but as a true fan of the Dallas Cowboys. We need to win this game.
Well, these two teams will be on full display, Kyle, this weekend. Give me your prediction. How did the Cowboys find a way to get this done
1 point.
in San Francisco against the 49ers?
You know, I think this is it feels like a different week. It really does. It feels like a week where there's a lot to prove for the team that's in this building right now. The expectations are there. They have been there from the very jump, and from when training camp started, the expectations were set out in front. Either make it to a championship game, make it to a Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. That's what this team expects to do. You can't do that in week 5, no doubt. Win or lose, you can't do that, but you sure can get a good look at what your team looks like. This team's ready for that. I actually feel really good about this Cowboys team going into San Francisco, knocking off the 49ers, and showing just what Nate said, that there ain't no love lost between these two. There's always going to be a little bit of that animosity between the two franchises, between the two programs, and I think you're going to see that this week. Give me the Cowboys in a sloppy but also very defensive-heavy game, 23-21 and a tight one. So not by 1 point, but by 2 points. Give me the Cowboys on the road.
You got us winning.
George, what you got for us this week?
Yeah, it was close, right? I had 22-20.
Ooh,
Cowboys
hey.
win. But I think it's going to be in a great fashion because Mike McCarthy on his play sheet, he got a whole nother section just for them.
Yeah.
It's right there, and he's going to save that. We're going to be down at the towards the end of the game. Dak Prescott is going to do what we need to do, and we're going to be like, baby, we back, baby. It's on. It's time to go.
Real quick thing, how big is this game for Dak? Knowing
big.
what's happened the last couple of years, Dak Prescott going to be on full display on Sunday night.
I hope we just get hit early. Not hurt, but hit early.
Wake him up a little
so
bit.
he can relax.
Yeah.
And just play.
Let
Just
him
play.
run down on kickoff then, huh?
No.
See, you're doing a lot to us now. Can't do that now. Can't do that.
Oh, man.
You know,
What a visual image that would be.
yeah.
Nope.
You know,
Don't like it. Don't like it.
what he did, what he did during the Cardinals, he double pumped.
Yes.
I hate a double pumping Dak. What he did against the New England team, he didn't have no double pumps, maybe a half. But he believed what he saw in the offense. Now, you playing a team that'll give you some man coverage, some cover 3, because they rushing 4.
Yep.
And they're going to play some man. So now believe what you see. Believe what you see, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Cowboys 24-21. Shout out to Brandon Aubrey. Going to have a game-winning field goal on Sunday Night Football. My man's been perfect
more than
all
just a
season.
call.
I'm just saying my man's been perfect all season. I think it's his time to shine on a big stage. Regardless, this matchup, these two teams, it's always special in the National Football League, and we're going to have one hell of a football game on Sunday Night Football between the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers, a rivalry renewed on Sunday Night Football. Would appreciate our Cowboys legend, George Teague, for joining us this week at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Best of luck to Roll Tide this weekend against the Texas A&M
Gotta
Aggies.
give me some of this cornbread now. I can't go
Yeah.
man.
Appreciate you hanging out with us, man. Looking forward to seeing your podcast, everything you got going on for the rest of the season, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for having me on.
You got it. Nate, always good to see you, my guy, man. You feeling
I'm feeling good. I just ain't never figured out how an elephant and a tide got together, but it's okay.
We'll let you figure that out over dinner. We'll let you figure that out a little bit later
Yeah.
I'll tell you all about it.
Just, I got a story for you. I got a story to tell you. Don't even worry about it. Nate, good to see you, man.
Good to
Hope
see
you enjoyed
you
this
too,
weekend,
man. I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
Kyle, appreciate you hanging out with us, man.
Kyle,
of
yes,
course.
sir.
Big weekend for DallasCowboys.com with San Francisco and the Cowboys.
Big time weekend. We've got pregame live with Nate, Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback coming up at 6 p.m. Central Time. We'll lead you all the way up to kickoff, and then we've got postgame coverage with Nate as well on Cowboys game night. So, yeah, plenty of coverage across the way.
Looking forward to hopefully after a win on
Yeah.
Sunday Night
Love
Football. Again, appreciate George Teague for joining us this week. For George Teague, Nate Newton, Cal Yomas of DallasCowboys.com. My name is Kevin Gray. This has been the Cowboys Crosstalk Live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Cowboys 49ers on Sunday Night Football in Santa Clara. Go Cowboys. We'll talk to you next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?